Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, I am your instructor Dr. Adnan Makbul in the subject of International Business Management. As we know that in our previous lecture we have discussed about the legal system. In this lecture we will discuss about the dispute resolution in international business. There are two main branches of this dispute resolution in international business. The first one is principle of comity, and the second one is arbitration. So arbitration is also very important because sometimes there are some disputes in our businesses. That is why the process by which both parties agree to submit their cases to a private individual or body whose decisions they will honor. So both the parties, party A and party B, both of them, they will go to a person and ask him to that person whose decision will be honorable for both of them. Decisions can often be resolved more cheaply. And in the principle of comity, a country will honor and enforce within its own territory the judgment and the decisions of foreign court with certain limitations, because in any countries we cannot go to another country. When we go to another country, we cannot enforce them to do something. We must follow their rules and regulations there. Same as previous, the technological environment, that is also very important for us when we invest in foreign country. Investment in infrastructure and human capital have allowed the developed countries to continue to prosper in the world by kids despite high wages paid and to their workers. Even they are paying high wages to their workers, still the countries, there are some changes in the technology. So technological environment through investment, that is important. Technological transfer, as we discussed in our previous lecture, that some countries are looking the advanced technologies by encouraging FDI. So here we can also see that technological transfers, some countries promoted technology transfer by encouraging FDI. Not only they can encourage their technologies by encouraging FDI, but also the transmittal of technology from one country to another country. The intellectual property rights are also very important. Property, that is the product of intellectual activity such as computer software or the chemical formulas for the new drugs. So the intellectual property rights, that includes the property that is a product of intellectual activity system that established ownership rights over intellectual property, such as trademark, copyrights, patents. These are all the parts of intellectual property rights. Patents, that includes the grants for the investor of a new product or process, giving them exclusive rights for the defining periods to the manufacture, use or sale the invention. Copyrights, we know that when there is some businesses, they have the rights to publish anything or to sell. So there are some copyrights there, such as some publishers, they have there are some authors, they have the rights to publish that one. And the most important is trademark. So the trademark, that is design and names officially registered. So sometimes they use some trademark, as we see Uphone, Jazz, McDonald, KFC, they have some trademarks when we go there and we can watch that. For the intellectual property rights, we must know about the intellectual property law, that how it defines and how it works. The law can protect the ideas and the efforts of everyone as someone, if he have some ideas or unique innovative product, then the intellectual property right can help them to save that ideas, so that protect them, stimulate innovation and creative works. That is also differences in intellectual property laws between the countries, because each country that defines their own law, such as Japanese law allows firms to file numerous patents even with a minor modification of an existing patent, such as US law that is different from Japanese law, that requires patentable inventions to be novel, useful and non-obvious. Patent flooding, that is a company file a series of patent applications protecting narrow minor tech improvements to a competitor's existing patents. With the intellectual property rights, we must also consider about the political risk assessment. Political risk that consists the ownership risk, the property of a firm threatened to be confiscation, operating risk, transfer risk. The government interferes with the firm's ability to shift funds into and out of the country. That is why there are some kinds of risks, political risks that can be involved there. By assessing the political risk involved constant monitoring by the multinational companies, the employees of the firm, some of the best source of information, embassy officials and international chambers of commerce and consulting firms, international business publications, government. So these are all the assessing the political risks before we go to another country and design and develop our business there. This is not only this political risk is not only exist in the developing countries or emerging countries, but this kind of risk is exist in all kind of countries. The nature of importance of those risks vary from country to country, such as in France, French farmers protesting against Disneyland Paris and McDonald's. So before starting the business, we must consider the likely of duration of the host country and the type of business and in which country we are going to invest. Firms can then make a trade-off between political risk versus the likely rate of return of a particular investment. Such as when we are going to invest in any country, we must have a SWOT analysis, or we should have some trade-off between the political risk and the investment, the rate of return of investment in that country, that whether the risk is higher or the investment profit that will be higher. So we must consider that one, and after that we can start our international business.